outsider looking at this. And he said, you know, he recognized the cultural diversity of India. He's trying to pull this together. Well, but it was personality based, and it wasn't built into the government. So when the personality dies or gets overthrown, then unfortunately it had a regression backwards. So there was a couple of times in Indian history that came this close to uniting the whole place together. And it was outsiders that could see it. I guess it's just like being a family. You know, you can't see the problems. Outsiders can see it. But we've already gone over that, and we've seen how culturally diverse, and I've only kind of scratched the surface on this. But that's important because it links to all the problems that we're experiencing today, right? And why we're having all those problems. Either the Europeans, right? So if you know anything about world history, Europeans moved out. Columbus, a number of folks came this way. South America, Central America, all right, you had the Portuguese, the Spaniards. Then eventually they started moving in other directions towards Asia, and eventually the last place they ended up was at the African continent. So this was starting in the 1500s was the start of European expansionism. Eventually, they arrived here in South Asia. The British, the French, the Portuguese, the Dutch, you name it. The British won out with the British East India Company. I didn't realize until I dug into this deeper, the British East India Company was basically, the army was mercenaries. They were former officers and soldiers of the British Army who signed up for this company had its own private army outside of the regular army, that standing army of the Queen. Right? So this was a company-based army. Imagine if IBM had their own, you know, it'd be like IBM having their own guys in uniform. All right, and that's how they got. That's how they forced contracts on people, was by the point of the gun and the bayonet. Well, it was the two that came to loggerheads and had been over centuries was for years have been the British and the French. And the British won out. So in 1799, the British now are in India. Okay, they are the sole masters. Kick the French out, kick the Portuguese out. They have the strongest army, and they're the last man standing.